All right, we're starting with level 1s again. Eris, Crimson Angel. 3,000 power. Draw a card, enter charge 1 is the life burst. Whenever it attacks a red Signy on your field, it gets plus 2,000 power. That can be this, or it can be any other red Signy you have. I think it's great. I think it's good. It's not outstanding, and I think it's better in more mid-range red decks than aggressive mid-range decks. But if you're playing this as your level, well, like a level 1 in order to get a life burst added to your deck, it's playable. It's not a staple by any stretch, but this is a playable red card, and it has uses past set 0/0. Another playable red card, Imigawa. During your turn, this Signy gets 7,000 power, so it taxes at 10,000. I know I said that buffing is not super important. It's a little bit more important in red to rule the combat. That being said, it's playable, but barely just. As more and more sets come out and more red Signy come out, you have to recognize that red likes to play mono red often, and because of that, the card pool is a little more shallow for red, so it's willing to play cards that are worse as long as they have the red color. This is one of those where you can fill in slots with that, and it's not terrible, but it's worse than other red Signy that exist currently in existence, and it will not age well. Belith, Crimson Evil is not good. It is 2,000 power. It has a life burst. You can pay a red in anything. If you do, you can vanish target Signy on your opponent's field to 12,000 or less. You'd rather not pay anything in red because you're using all your enter to do other vanishing stuff. So it's not good. It also has the enter ability to vanish target opponent on your field with less power than the Signy. The Signy is 2,000 power, so it does not have very much. So it's not good. I would not play this, period. Trash. Is there any other level 1s that I'm missing here? Yeah, there is. Here we go. A multicolored level 1. These cards are always good. These cards are fine. Playable. You'll always find a reason to play 1 or 2 in a red and blue-centric deck. There's also a Pandana, Phantom Terra Beast. It's a panda. Red and green. It is slightly better because it's a Terra Beast. I should say that, I guess. That's a relevant creature line text. So, yeah, it's playable. Just to save time here, too, the level 2s here with the green and blue versions of this, also playable. All right, moving right along into the level 2s now. Hera. Hera is a staple. And I don't mean that as in just like a virtual deck. Hera is a staple if you're playing mono red. You always want to play Hera. It's not a staple outside of mono red, but Hera is better than most of the good cards in red, and you sort of judge all your level 2s based on how good it is compared to Hera. Hera is a level 2, 5,000 power. Its auto abilities whenever it attacks. If all the Signy on your opponents or on your field are red, you may pay red enter. If you do, vanish target Signy on your opponent's field with 5,000 or less power. This is good when you're attacking. When it does it on attack, it means that you're not enter starving them, but you're not giving them the enter they need to grow their assist Elrigs. So Hera, very, very, very good. Can't stress it more than that. I'm just going to call this Hatrium. I know it's not, but it's got a complicated name. It's high-armed. During your turn, all Signy on the field next to the Signy get plus 3,000 power. It's a power boosting if you care about power boosting. I don't think you need to worry about that, because if you care about power boosting, you're probably playing at, and you don't care about power boosting all that much. So I'm going to go ahead and say this card is not playable. If you find a reason to play it later down the line, cool. Celadon Phantom Terra Beast is playable. It's got 12,000 attack power, which is huge for a level 2. Its auto ability is when this Signy is vanished, draw a card, which is amazing, except you have the downside that you have to discard a card as well. So you can't play this with 0 cards in hand. You have to discard a card. Its life burst is that you can pay red at colorless, and if you do, you can vanish target Signy on the opponent's field with 12,000 power or less. That's relevant. It's a little bit extra than you'd like to pay, but if red has a hard time hitting that number, so it's fine as a 1 of or 2 of. It's amazing because of its attack power. So when you're playing attack power matters decks, this is just better than playing like, this, which has the ability to pump other things. You just want one solid attacker, and this is a solid attacker. And that's your level 2s. Moving on to level 3s. Tobiel, Fully Armed, is a barely playable card. 12,000 power, has a life burst. Choose one, vanish target up to Signy on your opponent's field. Draw a card. It at least has the upside of being able to draw you a card when inevitably you can't vanish a target up to Signy on your opponent's field. The auto ability is that when it attacks, all the other Signy get, or your other target other Signy get plus 5,000 power till end of turn. You can discard 2, when it enters, you can discard 2 cards and you can draw 2 cards, aka look for a guard. It's begrudgingly playable if you need a life burst effect in mono red. If you need a life burst effect in mono red, you also have the ability to do this one, which is just a 13,000 power, vanilla, doesn't do anything, has a life burst of vanish target Signy on your opponent's field with 10,000 power or less. Takada Katsu, Crimson General. Yeah, both of their playable level 3s, not exciting, will get aged out over time. Mars, Crimson Angel Queen, has a lot of text on it. It's 12,000 power, level 3. Whenever the Signy vanishes a Signy on your opponent's field, put a card from the enter zone that doesn't share a color with your opponent's center Elrig to the trash. Basically, when it attacks, it enter burns your opponent by 1. Cool. Its enter ability is you can discard 3 red cards from your hand, and this Signy gains Assassin till end of turn. It's playable. It's not great, and it gets sort of aged out a little bit as time goes on, but if you're a red deck that's looking for a top-end Assassin to end games, Mars will get you there. I think you can drop it as a 1 of or 2 of in mono red decks in the future. You can drop it as a 1 of in there and then call it a day. I don't think you're ever really looking for this card too hard. Shub-Niggura, level 3, 12,000 power. It is a team Signy. The auto ability, which is a team ability, is whenever this attacks, if all the Signy on your field are red, you can play red. If you do, you can vanish target Signy with the opponent's field with 12,000 or less. Its enter ability is red. The Signy gains double crush till end of turn. The enter ability is not very good. It's a lot of mana to pay to just sort of getting vanished and being sad. But if you somehow are really late game with a mono red deck, I guess it does a job for you. Where it's at is the auto ability. The ability to basically do Hera, but a double Hera, is good. It's overcosted for red specifically. It is a fine of playable deck if you're playing Ancient Surprise. If you're not playing Ancient Surprise, skip it. And I think that's all of our... Oh, there's one more level 3 hiding. This Natural Crystal, Neleon. Its enter ability is you can pay 2 colorless. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal a red card, and add it to your hand, put the rest on the bottom in any order. It has a terrible life burst of vanish target up Signy on your opponent's field. Trash. Don't play it. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it to recharge by paying 2 enter in red. I'd skip it. Then we end up with the spells. You're going to see a running theme with basically the spells in this deck. Let me see where it is here. I'm trying to find it, and it seems to be missing. Signy spell. There should be a spell here. Battle Beat. It's not very good. I'll spoil it for you ahead of time. Battle Beat is not a good spell, so you don't need it. I'm just going to say that for the rest of all of the spells in this set, they aren't good. So don't worry about the spells in this set.